Okay, so once we have that prediction, we want to export all those predictions to a separate text file. So I'm going to create a new variable for the actual trained file. And it's going to be in my working directory. I'm going to call it trained set. Okay, and now I'm going to open that file for writing. The first thing I'm going to do is actually write out my header line. This is going to describe all the entries and make it easy to import into QGIS. And what I'm going to have is first the ID, and then I'm still going to export the latitude and longitude, just so when I join the two data sets, I can verify that the latitude and longitude still match up. Okay, so I don't really need to export these. I just need the ID to match on and the prediction. But I'm just going to use that to verify that everything works right. And then the last data I'm going to have is the actual prediction value. And then I need to add my new line. And now I'm going to cycle through all of the predictions. I'm going to use this looping structure to just go through all the predictions, and I is going to iterate all the indices of that prediction, okay? Because I want to pull in several different types of data into this file. Okay, so I'm going to write a new line, and the first thing I want is the ID, and that's stored in my ID array, right? So that we stored that up here. We haven't used it, but now we're going to bring it back so we can reference those entries. And I'm going to use I here to specify which number or which entry I want. I'm going to include my delimiter. The next piece I need is the latitude, and that's just stored in our test feature data array. So test feature data, and I want the ith instance, and I want the first piece of that array. Because remember, for each instance, we store latitude and longitude as this separate two-part array. And then the same way, I want the longitude. So I'm going to use the same structure. But this time I want the second piece of that array. And finally, I need my prediction. And that's in my prediction array that we generated here. Okay, so I'm going to get the ith entry in that array. And just to make sure this concatenation works well, these are all numbers here, so I'm just going to cast that into a string. And finally add my \n to make a new line after this data point. Alright, so I'm going to run this now. It's going to go through, it's going to train the model, it's going to apply the model to all of our test data, and it's going to actually export this new text file with all of our predictions. Okay, so here is the file that was generated. If we open it up, we see that we have the same ID numbers. We have the latitude, longitude, which should match between the two data sets. And here we have all of our price predictions for those locations.